Assalamu alaikum, inshallah you're well guys. So today I'm going to speak about job offers from smaller accounting firms and why you should seriously consider accepting those over larger organizations such as your big four or top 10 firms. And just to be clear guys, when I'm referencing smaller accounting firms, I'm talking about your top 25, 50 or top 100 firms, which typically take on a couple of grads or apprentices each year. The first potential benefit of working in a smaller accounting firm is more variety in the work that you do. So if you join the big four, let's just say, you're going to be allocated to either audit, consulting, tax, or a specific service line. You don't really get the opportunity to rotate. Whereas in smaller firms, there's smaller teams. So a greater sense of shared responsibility to get the job done. That's why you may see vacancies being advertised as audit and accounts roles, because as well as audit, you'll also be working in accounts prep. And that should appeal to those of you who are maybe entrepreneurial, you want to open up your own practice in the future, because you'll get a lot more experience of working in the detail in a smaller accounting firm than you would say working in the big four or top 10. To give you a practical example, a big four auditor will know what a VAT return is. They may have reviewed one as part of their confirmations of the VAT balance in the financial statements, but it may be that they don't know how to prepare one. Whereas someone who's working at a smaller accounting firm, they may have bookkeeping or accounts prep experience, so they are more likely to know how to prepare a VAT return. The big four and top 10 firms are very structured. They take on hundreds of trainees each year. The exams are likely already scheduled for most likely the whole of your training contract, and they have stringent exam policies in place as well. If you fail too many times, you could find yourself out of a job. Whereas with smaller firms, there's likely to be a more lenient exams policy in place, and it comes down to you of when you want to study and book your exams. Obviously, you'd probably still be expected to do that outside of busy season. I've had a fair few people message me over the years to express their frustration. They may have already met the practical work experience requirements, but they can't sit the remainder of their exams because they may be an apprentice, they have to wait out their 5 years training contract, or they may be a graduate and they're not due to be booked into college for quite a while yet. And guess what? In all of those instances, these people work for larger accounting firms. They can also be greater flexibility when it comes to working additional hours, in that you would either get paid overtime or time off in lieu. Now, I'm not going to say that work-life balance is better in smaller firms because you still have busy season and you still have deadlines to meet, but in larger firms, that is expected of you. You are expected to work longer hours, and in many instances, you're not reimbursed for that time, which is unlikely to be the case in smaller firms. The next point depends on the firm itself. If it's an acquisitive firm, many small firms are growing at a rapid rate, then progression may be quicker than working at a big four firm. I always say that progression can be quicker in practice because bigger teams often means more opportunity, but like many other large organizations, there can be red tape in the big four. Sometimes you may be held back because you haven't been at a certain level for a certain period of time, you haven't managed a particular team to progress, or someone senior may just have a negative opinion about you, which may hold you back. Whereas when I've spoken to those at smaller acquisitive firms, sometimes they're recruiting for whole teams from senior manager level right down to junior trainee level, and they're offering joining bonuses on top. So that's great for career progression because if you're an existing employee, there's plenty of opportunity on offer and more flexibility when it comes to your pay negotiation as well, because you're less likely to hear the, "Oh, sorry, we're limited to the pay band" argument that you typically hear at larger firms. I'd also go as far as saying that you may feel more valued at a smaller firm. When you're working for the big four or a large firm, sometimes it can feel like you're just a number, that even if you leave, someone else will just slot into your role and complete the job. With smaller firms, you can feel more integrated within your teams, you feel that you have better relationships with your clients, all of which lead to greater job satisfaction. And I'd say job satisfaction is one of the biggest reasons why people do leave the big four. Now, after watching this video, you shouldn't immediately think that smaller firms are now better than larger firms because there can be downsides involved. And also, all of my points won't apply to all small accounting firms. It's really just designed to give you some perspective, some points to think about, so you don't put pressure on yourself. Oh, I've got to get an offer from the big four, top 10 firms, and that's it. Inshallah, I'll leave it there, guys. As always, any questions or queries, please feel free to comment below or message me on Instagram.